Hey guys, and welcome to the WWE Podcast Mailbag for this Wednesday, January 6th, 2021. Tonight, we're going to start out with some questions on email, and then we'll get to the actual voicemails. So, the first question is from Noah, and he asks, why is Grand Metalik in NXT? I watch SmackDown, Raw, and if I get lucky, NXT, but I always check results. And I saw that Metalik was in NXT challenging for the Cruiserweight title. Why is he doing that if he's on Raw? Well, Noah, first of all, thank you for your question. Second of all, that is something that I think WWE believes that we won't notice because Grand Metalik is a lower card talent. And fans like yourself and others notice these things, and they are hoping even if you notice, you don't care. They never adhere to their draft rules. They don't follow their own draft rules. They never have. They just violate the sanctity of what a draft is time and again. So this doesn't shock me. It doesn't surprise me. And they think that either fans won't notice or if they do, they won't care because it's Grand Metalik. So that's really a very straightforward answer to the question. And yeah, it's probably the worst answer I could give, but it's exactly what I believe is the case that's going on here. So, all right, let's get to that first voicemail.
Hey Matt, this is Jap from the Philippines, and I think WWE should take a break from having these Money in the Bank matches. Like, take a break from it for like 3 years or 5 years. Because I think it's lost its mystique. And I know The Miz have regained the Money in the Bank briefcase because he didn't actually cash in the Money in the Bank. But I think it's that the briefcase holder doesn't feel like a threat anymore to the champion. We got a number of failed cash-ins. John Cena, Baron Corbin, and even though The Miz didn't actually cash in the briefcase at TLC, he didn't even win that match. So that's what I think why the briefcase holder doesn't feel like a threat to the champion anymore. And on Goldberg's return, WWE inserted crowd cheering noise, and if there was an actual crowd on Raw, I think they would be booing the moment they hear Goldberg's entrance music play. And what I fear is that Goldberg might take the WWE Championship from Drew McIntyre because they have done it before on Kevin Owens and The Fiend. So maybe they could do it again. That's all, Matt. Thank you. Have a great day.
Hey Jeff, thank you so much for the feedback and the questions. The Miz recapturing the Money in the Bank briefcase. I mean, I've been very, very clear about this. I don't have any interest in seeing The Miz cash in successfully or cash in at all or have him being on my screen at all. How about that? You're onto something there. The Money in the Bank briefcase, the Money in the Bank ladder match, the Money in the Bank stipulation has, I think, worn out its welcome. I know it's once a year, so that's the justification WWE will use. But we've seen just about every cash-in you can do. Everything that can be done with the briefcase, I feel like, has been done. You've done it at the main event of WrestleMania. You've done it the same night. You've done it when the champion's vulnerable, when he's not vulnerable. You've had failed cash-ins. I mean, it's done. I'm not excited about it anymore. I'm at the point where I just want to get through it. I want to get it over with so we can move on with our lives. That's not good, right? Like, that's not what you want. If you're WWE, that's not the desired result, the desired feeling from fans. That if fans are just going, can we just get this over with? Can we just be done with the Money in the Bank briefcase so we can move on? I think most fans feel that way, and just because I feel that way doesn't always mean everyone feels that way. I get it. I'm not that emotionally stupid. My intelligence level and emotional level is, I think, high enough to understand that, okay, that I'm not, just because I speak for myself doesn't mean I speak for everybody. But That said, I do believe that the Money in the Bank briefcase has worn out its welcome. I think you and I are right on that. But okay, as far as Goldberg's return and his chances of taking the WWE Championship off of Drew McIntyre, I would say they're higher than average. They're certainly higher than Keith Lee and his chances taking the belt off of Drew, which we all knew was about, like a 3% chance. I'd say Goldberg has, dare I say, 40-50% chance of taking the belt off of Drew McIntyre. Lord knows we don't need to see it. I was hoping he would just go for Roman Reigns. Actually, I was hoping Goldberg wouldn't even come back. I think Vince McMahon's the only one that wants Goldberg back for whatever reason. And you're right about the fans. If the fans were in an arena, I would have loved to have heard that reaction. Fans would have, I think, torn it apart. We're tired of this. And you could say, oh, it makes more money. No, does it, though? Or does it tune fans out? Does it anger the boys in the back that are losing a spotlight because a 55-year-old man wants to get a payday and wrestle for his kid? What about the kids that are being supported by the guys that are there right now? Why does it always have to be about the veteran's kid? They've seen him wrestle. He came back in 2016. He's had 3, 4, 5 matches? Dolph Ziggler, Brock Lesnar, right? He's had matches. The Fiend. He's won everyone except one. Okay, so the whole kids got to watch me wrestle thing is doesn't pull at my heartstrings anymore. Goldberg, to me, is a two-trick pony. He'll admit that, too. Great guy. He's a human being. That's wonderful. Character-wise, I have no interest. Will I still watch? Of course I will. Which I guess, as I said in my Monday Night Raw review last night, I guess that's all that matters to WWE. We can complain and complain and complain, but at the end of the day, we are going to watch it anyway. Begrudgingly. But is that really what you want from your fans, where they feel like they have to watch it instead of wanting to watch it and getting excited about watching it? I'd argue no. But will Goldberg capture the belt? Lord, I hope not. I hope not. There's no need for this. If they do this to Drew McIntyre, this is not Brock Lesnar. You see, the difference with Brock Lesnar is, it's Brock Lesnar. He's Teflon. He's not a guy that WWE is going to build around for the next 5 to 10 years. And he's not going to be there every week. He's there once every 3 months. Why would they do this to a guy, to lose clean to Goldberg, lose, and then what? Have Goldberg as champion rolling into WrestleMania? Imagine the fan backlash if Goldberg wins. They did it to The Fiend, and he wasn't even booked as a babyface at that point. So I would love to hear, and I'm really looking to social media, Twitter specifically, for the cesspool that it is, especially today with all the stuff going on at the Capitol down in D.C. I'd love to hear the fans' reaction if WWE hands the belt to Goldberg. It would be a disaster. I don't know. I say they don't have the guts to do it, but I think that they would. I'm very, very concerned. The only positive that could come from this is if Goldberg takes the belt, Roman Reigns wins the Royal Rumble and challenges, Drew McIntyre wins the Royal Rumble, challenges Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania. I mean, that's it. That's it. I mean, I guess that's maybe their plan to get to WrestleMania. But then who does Goldberg face? I can't believe I'm still saying the name Goldberg in 2021. This is insane. All right. Thank you so much, Jeff. Let's get to the next voicemail.
Hey, man. This is Chris again from Switzerland, and I'm absolutely with you. But first, Happy New Year. Make the best of it. You're still an awesome podcaster. I love to listen to you. Just before it's about this very, very bad Raw, maybe really the best I ever saw. I'm watching WWE since 1994, but without a break, I would say 1998, and this is the most horrible Raw. I mean, there have been some terrible Raws, but there was some highlights there. But this time, there was no highlight, only lowlights, in my opinion. You cannot see maybe the little good lights, but because of this darkness, what happened there, and it was a disgusting booking. I hope they need all to get fired. I don't know how to get rid of these stupid things. I mean, if Vince really makes his yes to all of that, then maybe he's really ill. He is. Maybe he is. And it can't be happening that age with about all these years he's worked. And maybe he don't realize it. And we really watch a program of an old senile man. And it's so horrible. And I'm really afraid of what happens. And I'm a very loyal, a very patient fan. Probably like you, and but sometimes it's so. Yeah, I'm really ashamed about wrestling today. As you said, you cannot say, "Oh, come on, let's roll wrestling," and you have to see this. No, you have to look at really quiet with headphones in your dark room, and don't let anyone see that you watch this. Oh my God, yeah. One of the big highlights was Terry Wilson. She looks awesome in her age. But yeah, Drew McIntyre, in my eyes, has to think, what the hell is going on as a normal human being in this role, okay? But again, Bill Goldberg doesn't deserve anything like he's getting all the time. Maybe he's a big name, but I'm very afraid that he's beat McIntyre at Royal Rumble in 3 minutes again. I hope it's not. I hope we get squashed and gone forever. Yeah. Matt, take care. Stay healthy. Stay patient. We get through this. Oh, man. Yeah. We have to get through this because we love the wrestling, but it is a very hard time when it's going on like this. Take care. Bye.
Hey, Chris, good to hear from you. Sounds like we're on the same page as far as the abomination that was this past Monday Night Raw. I don't think I've ever had that big of and that intensity, that level of a negative review of Monday Night Raw than I did last night. It was just an embarrassment. It was an embarrassment. And look, WWE hasn't had that big of an embarrassment from start to finish in quite a while. So, I don't want to say, I mean, I hate to say that it's okay, but I'm going to give them a pass because while we do have good and bad in every show, and there's good things to talk about, and there's things that we can complain about as wrestling fans, it's just what we do. But we haven't got that big of a clunker, a stinker, a total turd that WWE, and boy am I using PG terms, aren't I, that they really dropped on Monday night, in a while. I mean, I can't remember that. I mean, the fact that I said it's the worst Raw ever tells you something. I mean, I've complained about things in the past, recently too, logic, void of logic. But for WWE to drop what they did Monday night, they don't do it that often. Okay, so if they continuously do this and it's suddenly a pattern, then we've got a bigger problem on our hands. But any entity, any televised series, episodic TV series, as much content as WWE pumps out, they were bound to have a complete deuce that they dropped. I'm trying to find as many PG adjectives for the word I'm thinking, okay? And so I'm going to give them this pass. They're certainly deserving of the criticism that I gave them and you gave them, and many fans gave them. And I don't take any of it back. I don't second guess what I did or said about how terrible Monday Night Raw was, which with a few small highlights that I did note in the show. It wasn't 100% bad, but it was like 90 to 95% terrible. So there's that. As far as the Goldberg thing, I mean, I did address it with the previous voicemail. I'm fearful. I'm very fearful. Again, the only positive, which I mentioned, is maybe Drew wins the Rumble again and goes on to face Roman Reigns, and he chooses Roman Reigns instead of Goldberg at WrestleMania. I mean, that's it. That's all I can think of. Terry Runnels, yeah, I mean, I noticed that too. She doesn't age. Certainly, Father Time has been quite nice to her. I'll agree with you there. But yeah, hiding, I should say, from people, that you don't want to see that you're watching wrestling. I understand that. I mean, there's sometimes I remember being out, not so much now with everyone just kind of sitting at home with the lockdown or the quarantine or whatever the hell we're just infinitely in, is that you just don't want people to know that you're watching wrestling. Sometimes it's just what it is. And especially 2 nights ago, Monday Night Raw, that's an episode you don't want to share with friends or family. I can guarantee you that's not an episode that you want to share with somebody to get them into wrestling. Okay? That is not one that you put on the refrigerator, so to speak, and you just kind of forget it. Let's all forget that ever happened. Hopefully, okay. It was bad. It was embarrassing. It was just awful. Okay, I think I've said enough about the Monday Night Raw, but thank you so much, Chris. Hope you're doing well, and please call back.
Hey, Matt, how are you? This is Anthony from Long Island, calling check in. I haven't called in a couple of weeks. So I'm listening to your weekend review with Mimi. Great job as always. And you had mentioned that you wonder how the fans are going to react once they're allowed back into the stadium. And my concern is, how are the wrestlers going to react? Their whole career, they've been able to go off the flow of the fans. And although I haven't been watching, as you know, for that long, all I keep hearing about is how, WWE is reshooting a finish. They had one with Daniel Bryan last week where they wanted to redo the finish. They didn't like it. The creative is, pumping in the crowd noise. They're creating the narrative on who's the heel, who's the face. And the fans, well, they're not going to stick to the script, right? If a finish isn't done correctly, creative stuck with it. They're going to have to deal with the reaction. The fans agree or disagree. And I almost wonder that the wrestlers may get a little sloppy on the fact that they're so used to saying, hey, we can just do it again. We can just reshoot it. And now they're going to have to be in the moment. And I know they're professionals and they're amazing, and the in-ring product, in my opinion, has been amazing lately. But again, my concern is, how the wrestlers are going to react. So I'd be curious to hear, your thoughts on that, obviously, being a lifelong fan. As far as the mailbox show that you do, I love it because it seems like you're getting a few guys who are regulars, and I'm starting to enjoy them, and I'm actually starting to look forward to hear what they have to say. One of your callers in particular, and I'll give him a shout-out, I hope he's listening, is the so-called casual wrestling fan. And I say so-called because he's not so casual. This guy knows what he's talking about, and he's really enjoyable. I like his perspective. Sometimes he comes at you with some differing opinions, which I think is great when there's a debate. And I'd be curious to know his story. I know sometimes you have guests on, and I'd love to, maybe have an interview with him, or just find out a little bit more about him, because he really does give a great perspective, and he has a lot to show, and I appreciate him. So casual wrestling fan, what's up, my man? Good job. Matt, again, love your product, love everything that you do, and look forward to hearing your opinions. Enjoy.
Hey, Tony, thank you as always for calling in. It's nice to hear you every couple of weeks, and certainly no exception this week. Interesting question, because we're all thinking, and I've only been talking about what happens when fans come back. What do the fans say? Like, are they going to agree with WWE's product? Are they going to tear it up? Are they just going to be so excited to be there? They're going to cheer for everything because the wrestling's back live. There's so many variables. I don't know. But the other side of the coin that you just noted too is, what are the wrestlers going to do? How are they going to react? And I think the answer is they will adjust fairly quickly. The reason I say that is, number one, they have crowd noise being pumped in right now that they can react to. It's not just in post-production. There is a little bit of crowd noise that they can hear audibly while they are working. So there is that. They're starting to get reacclimated to hearing noise, crowd noise, albeit not real crowd noise, but simulated crowd noise right now. So they're starting to get back into the swing of things, starting to feel a little bit more normal. If they had been at the Performance Center this whole time, and who knows how long we're still going to be in this environment, and they just, bam, switch them to a stadium or an arena, there probably would be a little bit of an adjustment. But right now, they're kind of in transition. They're at the farthest that they can go without actually bringing fans back, with a virtual Thunderdome and crowd noise actually in the arena and on the on your TV screen coming through the speakers or on your phone, which is where most of us watch it. Certainly, there's still probably a slight transition, but I think the wrestlers are going to pick right up where they left off. I don't think there'll be too many hiccups. I think they're hardwired for crowd reactions. Their promos, everything they do, the way they act, their entrances, from top to bottom, everything is designed for a crowd reaction. So I don't think it's going to be too hard for them to reacclimate back to a live format. I think they're going to be overexcited. I think you could have kind of the opposite effect where people are over-emoting, overdoing things and trying to find their balance again, because everyone's going to be so amped up whenever this date comes that you may have guys and gals doing things too much, trying too hard. I think that is actually something that could happen, but ultimately it's like riding a bike. And I think that's the way that they're looking at it, is we can't wait. You know, we've kind of got it halfway with the virtual and the simulated noise, but there's nothing like a real live audience. And I'm sure they're chomping at the bit. Whenever they get the green light, they're going to do it. I mean, so I would think, the longer this vaccine is out, the more it gets distributed. I don't know the rules and regs down in Florida, but they seem to be the most kind of liberating and free type of state that doesn't really have a mask mandate and so forth. So, hey, we'll see. Great question. And interesting, as far as your shout out to the casual wrestling fan. So the casual wrestling fan has a fan, and I'm with you. To call himself a casual wrestling fan, he's like a wolf in sheep's clothing. He's not really casual. And I know he has a voicemail coming up here tonight, I believe. So we'll have to see what he has to say. But I agree. He's an interesting dude, and I enjoy hearing him as well. And if he wants to come on the show, I think that might be a good fit. Only one way to find out, right? So I guess I'll make that my official invitation to the casual wrestling fan. If you're interested, you don't have to. You come on the show. I'm fine with a quick interview, quick chat, whatever it may be, or however long it goes. Just hit me up on voicemail or email us. So, Tony, thank you so much as always. Hope you're doing well. Hope your family's well. Hope everyone's staying safe in these just insane times. It's like 2020, and I saw this meme, so I'm not going to take credit for it, but 2020 is, on its way out the door. And, we are all saying, well, 2020 can't be outdone, and 2021 is saying, hold my beer, right? Somebody had that up. So many memes going around. It's already starting off crazy. So, alrighty, let's get on to our next caller.
Hello, this is Jose, Alicia. I've been doing so good. I beat COVID, and I'm happy. And my condolences to John Huber, aka Luke Harper, Dirty Lee. I was super sad when he passed away. I was alive, and I was watching Luke Harper in NXT from 2009. I was watching, and I'm 23. And I get to be 24 September 4th in 1997. Yeah, 1997. That's when Kane came out, Undertaker's brother, and took off the hinges of the cell door against his brother, Tombstone Pile Driver. I was there. I saw all wrestling matches. And I am the biggest fan, and I'm so excited I get to hear my voice on podcasts. And I thank you for everything that you do, and everybody out there that is listening. And I just want to know, how was Raw Legends tonight? And I was wondering if The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, and I had a rumor that he could change, not to the Fiend Bray Wyatt, to his cult leader, Sofona. I'm struggling with that word. Persona. There you go. And just want to know about Alexa Bliss as well. So, thank you, and have a wonderful blessed night, and I can't wait to hear what I just said today.
Hey, Jose, I believe you're a first-time caller, so thank you for taking the time to give us a call. And, again, Luke Harper, it was sad on his passing. Certainly, I mean, we've all covered it here, and it still sometimes sinks in kind of here and there where you're like, oh, yeah, wow, he's gone. And it's hard, especially, if you're watching AEW and getting into his character there, Brody Lee being the leader of the Dark Order, the Exalted One, all that. But even if you, knew him in WWE like you did, certainly tough, especially the family he left behind. And, that's the hardest part, right? Like, him at 41 is hard. It's bad enough. That's super young. It's the family he left behind that you really feel for, because he left a son behind, a wife, super young. I don't know. It gets really tough to talk about. So, as far as your question about the Fiend, he may return as the cult leader. I don't know. I think that'll be a persona he brings out once in a very great while. I don't think the Fiend being burned would make sense to bring back that Bray Wyatt, considering that he evolved into the Fiend. So does the Fiend get even more extreme? I think probably. I think he will look different. I think there will be a different mask, a different outfit that he'll wear, which would make sense given he was burned alive. There'll be some evolution of a darker character in the Bray Wyatt saga, which I'm glad they've had the restraint to keep him off TV for a few weeks. Thank you, WWE. You've shown some restraint. So that's a good thing. And Alexa Bliss, I don't know. I've sung her praises so many times on this show of what she's done. She has really added so much to the Fiend's character and done a lot for herself in the process. So I'm very excited for where Alexa Bliss is going to go in the future. And I'm glad she kind of has her own side storyline, or she did with Nikki Cross, which has kind of been forgotten. But maybe they'll resurrect it. No pun intended. Alrighty, next one.
Hey Matt, it's Bevan from Australia. Hope you're well. I think my call today is mostly more of a comment and to find your thoughts. When I look at the tag team championship, especially on the women's side, the teams don't seem like the ladies don't, or the wrestlers don't wear the same outfits, which I always find a bit off-putting, and I find it distracting. So, for instance, like on Raw tonight, there was Charlotte and Asuka against I can't remember her name, Lacey Evans and Peyton Royce. And all four of them had a different outfit. And I always find that a bit of a disconnect for me. I always struggle to enjoy a tag team match when it's a tag team. The phrase is already in the headline, tag team. A team usually, no matter if it's two people or it's a soccer team or a football team, they all wear the same clothes. I've always felt that this a bit of a disconnect for myself, and I've never really then invested in that particular team if they've managed to secure the championship. So I was just wondering your thoughts on that as well. I always thought that a tag team should basically wear the same outfit. But anyway, hope you're well, and a happy new year to you. Thank you. Bye.
Hey Devin, so that's a good question too. I've never gotten that question about the attire of tag teams, which we have seen a very, very non-conforming tag team clothing rule in WWE, which doesn't exist. And here's why I think it doesn't. Vince McMahon has almost never, if not never, put tag team wrestling above single stars. And with some logic there, that makes sense. Single stars do draw more money traditionally than do tag teams, because you can do more with a single star. They're not tied to another person that may be dragging them down, blah, blah, blah. That said, I think Vince McMahon views tag teams as really individuals that are just teaming together. They're not a true tag team in the sense of the word that we know tag teams that used to be. Even the Usos, when they would, even though they were terrible babyface characters when they first came in as the Usos, the Dudley Boys dressing in the camouflage, the Road Warriors. Go down the list of legendary tag teams, and you think of them as wearing very, very similar attire. Even Matt and Jeff Hardy were very similar. Not identical, but very similar. So there is that lack of kind of coherence, that lack of unity with tag teams. Even though attire is a small thing, if you don't see them in the same attire, that kind of just shows you they're individuals that are not really a team. They're just individuals who happen to be teamed together, if that makes total sense. And I'm with you. I mean, it's something I never even consciously thought about, but now you're forcing me to consciously think about it. And that's good, because I think it's a good small thing to do. But I also believe that Vince doesn't keep tag teams together very long, and they don't want them to maybe not have their own identity, so he doesn't keep them together to invest the time to have them get the same clothing and then have to, split them up. That's what I think. So, great question, and call back, my man. It's good to hear from you.
Hey, it's the Waz from Indianapolis area. Hey, just calling about SmackDown from Friday and Raw from last night. First of all, we got it twice. We got it both in SmackDown and Raw. You had the Prophets come out and do it, and then New Day came out and did it. And this whole gimmick of, I'm going to be the talk show host and the other guy's going to be the band leader crap, stupidness. Just dumb. I'm annoyed with it. As annoyed as I am with that, I'm ready for somebody to beat the living crap out of Miz and Morrison. And honestly, I would love to see Morrison and or Miz turn on the other one and force one into being a babyface, preferably Morrison being the babyface. There are things that he does in the ring that are fantastic, and I would love to be able to cheer for him. And some of his jokes are okay. Outside of that, what they're doing with Big E, the slow progression toward his own thing. I want to see the hand clapping for the, New Day rocks, New Day rocks. That whole smacking the hand thing that he does, I want that to go away. I want him to come up with his own thing. That's what I want to see with that. I hope he does get in this long run with Corbin and have a deal with him. That would be great. Roman Reigns is killing it, as always. His mannerisms, his inflections in his voice, everything he's just nailing it. And he honestly is making Kevin Owens better than what he's been. And that's saying a lot, because Kevin Owens is already a great talker. Then everything with Drew and Keith Lee last night, the match was great. It went a bit long. I was really disappointed to see Keith Lee lose. I thought there would be something happen that no one would get a clean finish. Kind of disappointed with that. We're kind of shocked in a way that here comes Goldberg wanting to fight McIntyre. Okay, whatever. I know that ain't going to happen. I mean, the match will, but he ain't going to win. I'd be really shocked if he did. But Sonya Deville being back, love it. She has this swagger about her that reminds me of Becky Lynch, but in a more sadistic, evil version of that. And I really love to see her become a champion, whether it's a Raw or SmackDown, and go from there. I'm sure there's a lot more I could say, but I'm going to stop there, guys.
Hey, Waz, good to hear from you, and hope you're doing well, too. And, boy, you pushed that 3 minutes right to the edge, did you? That was 2 minutes and 59 seconds. Good for you. Good for you. So, last thing you talked about first, Sonya Deville. I had mentioned this on my SmackDown, or my weekend review that I did with Mimi, and I am loving that she's back. I'm glad that she's back. We didn't get an idea of what she's doing. She's just kind of walking backstage, but that's fine. That's fine. And I'm picking her right now as the Women's Royal Rumble winner for 2021. I did it last week this past week on my weekend review with Mimi, and now I'm still continuing to solidify my decision. I think she'll be a brilliant champion. She is booked as a heel, and Sasha is booked as a babyface. Although Sasha, to me, is anything but a babyface. The way that she's been acting since the Bayley split, which is the same exact personality, by the way. And I think Sonya Deville would be a brilliant SmackDown Women's Champion. I mean, she can talk. She might be the best promo on the women's roster on SmackDown. Tell me another woman that could outdo her in a promo. Sasha Banks can't. Okay. Bayley, close. I think Bayley is above Sasha in terms of promo ability. But Sonya Deville, just like you nailed it. She's got that something that you want to watch. And they pulled it out of her, and I'm glad that she is solo. She's not just in the tag team with Mandy Rose being the wallpaper of the team where you just don't really notice her. No. You do. So big thing there with Sonya Deville. I agree. As far as your comments about, Drew and Goldberg, I mean, I mentioned that several times throughout this show, so I don't want to repeat myself, but I mean, if you already got to this part, you already know what I think with Goldberg. You're disappointed about Keith Lee, though? I mean, Keith Lee could have won, but wouldn't that have created some resentment among wrestling fans, though? Like, if Keith Lee won the WWE Championship on Monday, I think that there would have been some resentment in the hearts of fans, because fans love Drew McIntyre as champion. The majority do, I think. And they're just starting to, get to that point of like, oh, it's WrestleMania season. Drew is champion. Who's he going to face? Who the hell? I mean, if they had Keith Lee as champion, who's Keith Lee going to face that would be a main attraction for the show? Keith Lee's not main event ready on that level in terms of the fans' perception of him yet. You may have watched him in NXT, but I can guarantee you the majority of them didn't follow him closely in NXT. Like maybe you did, but I bet you the most of them didn't. So, good comments, Waz. Keep them coming. You always rapid fire them at me, so I'm like, oh man, I want to respond to them all, but I don't want to make this a 2-hour podcast. Thank you, though. Good comments as always, and please call back.
Hey, Matt, it's Kyle from New York again. I've actually sent a voicemail in a while. I think the last one I sent was like the last week of December, like before Christmas. So hope you had a good Christmas and a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Hope everyone else on the show did too, all the co-hosts, all the listeners, everyone else. But I've been listening. I listened to every one of your episodes, every one of your shows on this podcast. So I've been still listening. And I'm watching, obviously, Raw, I watch Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, those three. I don't watch NXT UK or 205 Live. I watch Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. And I've been watching them and saw something this week that I would want to talk about in a voicemail. So I saw Raw this week, the Raw Legends night. And Drew McIntyre and Goldberg. Not too happy about it. And I know you probably won't be too. I can see your rant coming. But yeah. Not too happy about it. Also, what the hell happened with Roman Reigns and Goldberg? Thought that was. I mean, I still don't get me wrong. I still don't want that to happen either. I'm just saying, why would Goldberg tease on the bump like 2 months ago? Roman Reigns, you're next, but now he's challenging Drew McIntyre. It makes no sense. Also, his reason for challenging Drew McIntyre is dumb. And also, the match didn't happen. Supposedly what I heard is this is all Vince McMahon's idea, and creative's not too happy about it. So that's not surprising at all. If Goldberg I don't want Goldberg to win. I know you don't. So what do you think's going to happen? Do you think Goldberg's going to win the WWE Championship, or Drew McIntyre is going to retain it? If Goldberg wins it, there's going to be fan backlash, probably even worse than the Fiend, him being the Fiend. If not worse than the same. So, yeah, I'm not too happy about it. I'm sure you're not. So let me know who you think's going to win. And, yeah, that's it. So, bye. And, thanks.
Hey, Kyle. Yeah, it has been a little while since you've called in. Good to hear you again. And very common theme here, Goldberg and Drew McIntyre, as suspected. So, again, I've mentioned this many, many times. I think most of the voicemails at least had some mention of this. But your other part, though, about that I will address, because I won't reiterate what I think about Goldberg, but your little nugget that you put in there about what happened to Roman Reigns and Goldberg, I agree. I was thinking the same thing, and I'm like, wait a minute. He just said Roman Reigns is next. So what the hell is he doing out here with Drew McIntyre? I think it all comes down to Vince. It's called the old changing of plans. It's the redrawing up of WrestleMania plans. I mean, this is typical Vince McMahon booking, right? Like, Vince McMahon is the one driving the force here, not Goldberg. So I'm not really faulting Goldberg for saying this on the bump. I'm sure he was allowed to say it and told to say it. and then all of a sudden they pull the plug and do Drew versus Goldberg. And agreed, his reasoning is just completely flawed about respect. I mean, Drew is nothing. If anything, that's the one word that comes to mind is respect for Drew. And Drew has been also in the game for quite a long time. He's not a new guy to the professional wrestling industry. He's been around for like 20 years in and out of the business, or in and out of WWE, in independence and everything else. This guy has nothing but respect for the legends who paved the way. So that was completely flawed. And if Goldberg knew anything about the character, or if the writers knew anything about, logical storytelling, they would know, hey, well, Goldberg probably shouldn't say that. He'll look like a fool, because that's what all Drew McIntyre does, is talk about that. But hey, nonetheless, I think I've buried this Goldberg thing into the ground, but let's see if our next caller can continue the streak.
Hey, man, it's Kaz, a wrestling fan here. How you doing today? Just want to go over a couple points as always. First, I just want to say about Raw, it wasn't all that it was cracked up to be. I mean, I think it could have been worse. I know you're like, how could it have been worse? I do think it could have been worse. It wasn't good, though. Obviously, the opening with the Miz and the New Day was horrible. But outside of that, I didn't like Randy Orton versus Jeff Hardy. When I heard the match now, me and my wife, who is Mrs. Casual Wrestling fan as well, we looked at each other like, what's going on? Like, Jeff Hardy hadn't won the match in months, and Randy Orton is really good. So I think it was just horrible, at least to me. Number two, now Miz and Morrison, I heard you talking about heel heat. Now I know I'm probably going against the grain when I say this. If Miz and Morrison can make you rant for 10 to 15 minutes every week, I know you're gonna disagree, but they're doing the job. I know everybody says, oh, but that's not good heel heat. You're supposed to make somebody want to kick the other person's butt and all that. I disagree with that. If they can cause a reaction out of you, good, bad, otherwise, if you want to change the channel but you can't, that's good heel heat. On the flip side, Roman Reigns, who gets praised for being a great heel, I think if we was in the arenas currently, he would probably get more cheers and boos. I mean, like, he's very likable right now because everybody likes him in his role. Looking at my wife, we watch wrestling, and she's normally down the middle. She likes baby faces. She hates heels. I mean, rarely does she cross between the two, but she likes Roman Reigns in this iteration, and so do I. And I would not boo Roman Reigns. I cheer for him. I love seeing him wrestle. So I would ask you, is good heel heat to make fans like you when they're supposed to boo you, or boo you when they're supposed to boo you? So I think Miz and Morrison, they're accomplishing what they need to do. We can't tell people, when people make you mad, you can't say, well, you can't make me mad like that. Make me mad like this. They're making you mad. They're making you rant. They're doing their job. So no, I don't personally like Miz and Morrison. I think Morrison should be the lead. He's not that good on the mic, but, look-wise and ability, I think he's better than the Miz, but I don't like the iteration. And that's basically all I got for you this week. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and talk to you guys later.
Oh, Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan, I'm sure our listeners were waiting for you to drop something here, and you did. You didn't disappoint. And hope you and the Mrs. Casual Wrestling Fan are doing well and staying safe and healthy. So here's what I'm going to say to this, because I'm sure people are wondering, and throughout the voicemail are thinking, he's got a good point. He is ranting every week. Here's the thing. Yes, I am ranting every single week. It's seemingly, which I'm going to try not to do because it's getting a little redundant. But when they consistently put out these two characters that are god-awful, it's hard to ignore every week. And when they make it a staple every week of The Miz doing his show or whatever, it draws an emotion out of me. No doubt. It draws an emotion out of me. I'm not denying that. Otherwise, I wouldn't be ranting, because we're all about authenticity here. We don't pull punches. We don't fake emotions just to align with what, the WWE wants us to, or maybe just to be casual, to be controversial is the word I was trying to pull out of my head. We do things here real. And when I have an emotion, certainly I speak it and I vent about it, and I often repeat myself for 10, 15 minutes about something I can't stand. So I will agree with you there. But where we differ is in the heel heat. And you may say, well, heel heat. Doesn't matter. You can't have somebody hate you a certain way. Here's the difference, though. Randy Orton was doing a brilliant job over the summer of being a heel. I knew he was a heel. I enjoyed him as a heel. I thought he was a great heel, doing the heel heat he should be getting. At the same time, I wouldn't go to the arena and cheer for him. I would boo the hell out of him because he made me legitimately hate him as a character. Made me want to see somebody finally beat the holy hell out of him and bloody him. That's what I wanted. That is old school anger towards a character that you want a babyface to rise up against. With Miz and Morrison, this is the difference. I still have strong emotion. The difference is I don't want to watch them. I have no interest in even seeing anyone beat them up. You see the difference? The difference is I shouldn't even call it heel heat. I should call it channel changing characters. The people that tune out. There's the difference. The difference of not wanting to even continue to watch the show. Not because you're angry and, oh boy, I hope a babyface comes out and shuts them up. I don't even care if that happens. I'm over that. They're so far beyond that to me. Their characters to me are so far gone where I'm not even invested emotionally in whether they win or lose. There's a huge difference. There's the distinction. And I agree. If I was saying, oh, I'm just so angry at them. No. Not in the way that would be money drawing. Meaning people would tune in to see people kick their ass, right? There's the difference. In wrestling, you want to have people pay, in this case, the network, subscribe to the network. So on the pay-per-view, you can see, I don't know, pulling people out of my head here. Drew McIntyre, Claymore kick Miz in the face. You want to see somebody finally shut him up. No. I don't care about them anymore. Like, I'm just angry that they are a part of the show because they're flat out embarrassing. They're embarrassing to the company. I hope I'm being clear here. I do, because I know what you're saying about heel heat. Oh, heel heat. You're ranting about it. But what I'm ranting about is not necessarily, wanting to see somebody beat them up, because I don't care. It's about the fact that they're embarrassing. They're embarrassing. They embody everything wrong with wrestling today and what the perception of wrestling is. And we have to have a Miz TV on every single show. It's like, they're really the conduits for creative, right? Like, I'm really directing this at creative through these guys. And I don't know. You still may say, oh, it's still heel heat. You're still ranting about him. But listen to my argument again. It's channel changing. I have to physically stop myself from skipping through their segments because I don't care what they're doing. I'm tired of seeing them. I don't care if they get beat up. I don't care if they win. I don't care if they lose. Indifference is the death of a character. So, yes, good. I mean, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad I was able to clarify. And you still may think that this is heel heat, but it's not. It's not. It's channel changing. Big difference. And as far as Roman Reigns, if I'd cheer him going to the arena, no. Here's the difference. A heel can do such a good job that he legitimately or she legitimately makes you hate them because you believe that they are authentically like this. The difference, though, with a heel that's kind of cool, but they're a heel, is like a Bray Wyatt, right? He would generally be cast as a heel, generally. Yet the people would go there and see it because, oh man, he's cool. I don't want to boo a guy like this. No, I think people legitimately believe that Roman Reigns is some part of him, some part of what he's on TV as, is like this in real life. Otherwise, he wouldn't be like this on camera. Like, you can't fake authenticity. And there is some part of this character that we're seeing on air that is the real life Roman Reigns. Okay? I don't think people would cheer him. I don't. I think people would boo. Plus, they have Paul Heyman, right? If that ever happens, Paul Heyman could easily manipulate the audience back into booing him, which I don't think they would anyway. I don't think the fans would cheer him. There might be some defiant fans, but in general, I don't think they would. And I could be dead wrong. I don't know, man. I think the fans would bury him in a good way. And that's the thing with Roman Reigns. Here's the difference, too. I want to see somebody beat the holy hell out of Roman Reigns. And I wouldn't want to do it he's a great heel. I'm going to cheer him if he was in an arena in front of me. No. I want to see Kevin Owens beat the you-know-what out of him. It's a very cut and dry, clear, easy to follow story, and a easily cast or clearly defined cast of characters. Who's what? Who's good? Who's evil? Very easy. And I wouldn't cheer the evil guy. There's no redeeming qualities about him. There's nothing I can relate to with him. Kevin Owens, much more relatable. So, great questions. Please call back, and hope you and the missus are doing well. Alrighty, I believe, let me check here, if this is our final voicemail, and it looks like it is. So we'll take the final one and wrap up the show.
Hey, Matt, it's Bevan again. I'm not sure if I'm going to make the cutoff for the mailbag, but just in case I do. I just cannot believe bloody Goldberg coming out. It's as if he's entitled to something he doesn't deserve, because there's no story, and his whole reason for going after Drew was so contradictory. I probably I wanted to throw my remote, but anyway. So here's just my prediction of what I think is going to happen. I think that, God forbid, I hate to say it, but Goldberg will beat Drew at the Royal Rumble. Drew will then enter himself as a late entrant into the Royal Rumble, something similar to what Becky Lynch did a few years back. He'll continue to win the Royal Rumble, and then he's going to challenge Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. That's my prediction anyway. Hope you've managed to calm down since the disastrous episode of Raw, which I also thoroughly hated. And anyway, enjoying your show still. Take care and all the best. Bye-bye.
Hey, buddy. Yeah, you just made the cutoff. I mean, I was literally wrapping the show up and I got this voicemail. So you made the cutoff by like 10 minutes. So congratulations. Again, this has come up about 5 or 6 times. I've already given my thoughts, and which is in agreement with you about, look, Drew is probably going to lose at Rumble and then enter the Rumble and bam, bam, bam. You think he's down and out, but then he wins the Rumble and he's going to face Roman Reigns, which is more than likely the end of the story. Assuming The Rock doesn't come back to face Roman Reigns, some other variables, well, who's facing Goldberg at Mania and that kind of thing. But don't throw your remote too far. Because you're going to have to pick it back up and throw it again at the Royal Rumble when Drew McIntyre drops the belt to Goldberg. It's going to be, I mean, this is, I see no value in Goldberg at this stage. He's well past the prime. He's in great shape, but it's kind of a tired formula that I really wish WWE was able to get their true fan reaction in person. I don't think that it's fair for them not to get the shellacking that they would deserve bringing back Goldberg again. So again, though, guys, from what I understand, he's got a couple more matches left on his contract. So we certainly have our share of Goldberg coming up in 2021. So, alrighty, guys. So that does it for me. I accidentally deleted a voicemail. So if you didn't get on the show, it's my bad, because I completely deleted something. It said like I couldn't read the transcript and I accidentally deleted it. So if you didn't hear your voice on the show and you're like, hey, I called in, it's my bad. Please call back and just let me know that I'll slap myself on the wrist for that. But thank you everybody for calling in, and those that emailed and everything else. I do appreciate it. I know everyone's busy and taking the time out to call and talk. The wrestling world is certainly it's appreciated. It makes this show fun, and hearing all the voices and everything else. So, guys, thank you so much. We'll be back on Sunday night with your weekend review with Michael Ritter, who does the Friday Night SmackDown review for you guys. He will be joining me Sunday night for your weekend review. So it'll be a great time to be able to bring him on for the first time ever as a co-host on the show. So, guys, thank you so much. As always, I'll talk to you next time.